Tottenham TV. We are back. It's the post-match fan show. In case you didn't watch the game, I think Simon's just in hysterical denial. No, he's not in denial. He knows it wasn't great. But in case you didn't know, we lost 2-0 away to Sporting Lisbon. 2 goals in stoppage time cost us. We are going to bring in the fans one by one, hear their opinion, and see what you think. So the first guest on tonight is Hassan. Good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We've had better days.
I just realised
We've had better days supporting Tottenham. Not the end of the world, Hassan, but not what we wanted.
Yeah.
What about you?
Look, there was so much wrong, but a part of me is sort of numb to it because I sort of expected it to happen sooner rather than later. And knowing the way Sporting played, they played the exact same way as us, and they did to us what we would have wanted to do to them, where they sat back and they hit us in the counter, and when they did it spectacularly. You know, their passes actually connected, and we were undone. And there's a lot of different things that was caused by personnel, tactics, intensity. I found it quite funny that for the first 10 minutes of each half, we seemed like, we want to get the goal. And then after 10 minutes, we were like, you know what, it's fine. Let's just dial back because, 10 minutes is enough. And after that, it was just, the same old stuff. And I listened to what Stel was saying in the match reaction where he, you don't want to, but part of me was not happy that we lost, but I'm glad that the loss came now early on so these players can understand, what they're doing and how it's impacting, their performance. And Conte also needs to look at himself. There was a moment when I was watching it where he had his, hands on his head when Emerson just crossed it, to the keeper. You can't put your hands on your head when you play him every single game.
Yeah.
Right? You know what you're going to get with Emerson. It's not a shock to anyone. So you can't be angry with yourself and his performance because he can't do any better than that. That's his peak. He's not going to do anything better at right wing back. So, look, people are going to say, oh, yeah, but Spence, isn't a Conte signing. He's at the club, okay? If Conte was that adamant that he didn't want him, if he was that adamant, screw this guy, he'd be off with Ndombele on loan. He'd be off with Lo Celso on loan. He wouldn't be at the club. So I don't care if Spence isn't as good as a defender because Perisic and Emerson were both shocking defensively. Right? Even going forward, I don't think Perisic had the best game. Right? So if it's a defensive liability that Conte's worried about with Spence, you already got that with Emerson. So it's not going to be, anything worse. So that right wing back spot, he has to change. I can't see Emerson playing. Yeah. He's played every single game. He started every single game so far. And that just can't happen. Why he decided to take Longley out and put Ben Davies in beats me. I don't see, if you're not changing anyone else in the squad, why put him? And it was just boring, and it's tough, to watch that.
Johan Cruyff, one of the greatest footballing brains ever.
Yes.
And his student, Pep Guardiola, they both preach, if you have the ball, you can score, and the other team can't. If you don't have the ball, you can't score, and the other team can.
Yeah.
Is there not an issue with us not having dominating possession stats where the longer you give the other team the ball, they can then score because they've got the ball? Is that not a fundamental issue that we are witnessing week in, week out, that maybe we've gotten away with? Is that not at the heart of this? Or is it okay because that's what Mourinho did and Conte's the same?
Yeah, that's another, like I said before, there's so many different layers to the issues that we're seeing. And one of them is in the midfield, we don't have anyone to sort of stamp the authority on the ball. I thought Bentancur was, second to useless, really. Højbjerg, again, saying nothing special. And we bought Basuma to have an impact in that midfield. And, whatever the reason is, he's not up to the speed that Conte wants. And, at this stage, I don't care if he's not up to the speed that Conte wants. We need some change, right? If there's anything I would say about Conte as a negative is that he's too stubborn, right? He doesn't like these unknowns, these changes, these opportunities for risk, which is why you don't see the likes of Jed Spence play, because no one knows what's going to happen, right? Conte doesn't like that. He likes someone who's, and again, don't know why Emerson's in that equation, but that's what Conte does, and he won't change that midfield pairing, right? Basuma only played against West Ham because Bentancur got injured. Had Bentancur not got injured, Basuma wouldn't have started. And hence we have a midfield that's lackluster, can't control the ball, can't connect the defense. Because the amount of times where a ball just bypassed our midfield into their attack from their defense or their midfield, countless number of times. And it was just like they were just watching the balls fly past them. And we couldn't replicate that. So you're right, possession is one of the issues as well.
Harry Kane, a few games ago after the match, I can't remember whether it was directly to the official Tottenham channel or to Sky or whatever afterwards, he pinpointed that they are all basically aware that they need to up their game in that particular conversation was mainly around the first half, but in general the progression of the game. Right. When that was said, in my head, it was like, okay, that's good that you've all admitted that and understand that, and that you're in the background clearly talking and thinking about that. But also then to the opponents that watch those kind of videos in the future will see that this is an issue. What do you think is like going on at Tottenham at the moment? Because we have great players, we have a great manager. Why are we not developing I guess even a style of football? I don't think we have a style or an exact identity yet.
Do we have great players though, other than a handful?
Our forward line is good. Romero's good. Perisic is good, and the rest are sort of either poor or we don't know yet. Right? Spence and Longley are unknown at the moment. Right? Bentancur, average. Højbjerg, average. Emerson, I don't want to get censored or anything, but he is what he is. Dyer, average, and then the front three, front four now, I guess, with Richarlison, other exceptions, I guess, with a few other handful of players. So personnel is one issue, but look, Conte's here, so he can't moan about the transfer window anymore. He can't complain, where you don't have the squad, because he's stuck around. So if he was truly, truly upset, I wouldn't have any concerns with him walking away, because if he didn't feel like he could get the best out of the group or he couldn't see the group doing anything, then there's no point in staying. But he's here, so it's up to him now to try and figure out some way to get this group playing. And it's just really hard to watch. And just one more thing, I think people are going to berate Son, as usual. I'm not saying he had a good game. He didn't. Should he have started? No, he shouldn't have. But I think people also have to keep in mind Kane as well. He scored goals, so he's going to get off the hook. But today he was just as bad, if not worse, than Son. And I think people aren't going to mention that because it's all going to be on Son was bad, Son was bad, Son was bad. And whilst that's true, I think we got to look at everyone. And why he doesn't start Kulusevski, it is beyond me again. And again, waiting till there's so much. I could go on for hours about today's performance, but there's so many people in the back room trying to talk.
For you in the Leicester game coming up, Hassan, Stel is very clear in his mind that we're going to smash through Leicester, and I think we'll win that one as well. Do you start Son because you think that he could probably get some goals in this game, right? And then
I don't care anymore.
Or do you think we should change it?
No. He's had 8 games to get a goal, right? How like, are we just gonna just hope that eventually? Look, people are gonna say, "Oh, Kane last season went 14 games without scoring, so give Son the same breath." I understand that, but we bought Richarlison. It was worth 60 million in case this situation happened. So we wouldn't have to keep playing the same players. So if a player was tired, we could replace them. If a player wasn't performing, we could replace them. So there's no point. He's tried it with Son. He's tried to give him the opportunity, and it just isn't clicking for him. Let him rest. Then it's international break where he can work on whatever he has to work on, and then come back stronger. And the moment he starts scoring, boom, we're going to be flying. And I think for that Leicester game, it has to be Kulusevski, Kane, and Richarlison. It has to be Kulusevski. He adds something that the others aren't doing at the moment. He just adds that bit of, when he's one-on-one, he just creates something out of nothing. Right, that's what you want from the wing backs, and they aren't doing that as much. But he just adds a little bit of spice to create stuff, and he has to start at Leicester game. There has to be some changes. There has to be some changes. If he starts with the same team against Leicester, I might even consider not watching the game. I just wouldn't be bothered.
Azan, as always, thank you for coming on the show, my man.
No worries.
And we will speak soon.
Okay. Coming Spurs.
Thanks, Azan.
Big up to Asan. We've just got a quick super chat that came in during Asan speaking. Scorpion fan for life says, "It's time Spence gets a chance. Play him versus Leicester."
I would like that.
Next we have, is it the Ave Master?
Ave Master. I don't.
There he is.
Beg your pardon, Ave Master. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Could be better, but I guess we all can to a certain extent, lads.
Yeah.
Watching us try and score this game was like watching us try and find a needle in a haystack. It just wasn't going to happen, was it? Yeah,
we had chances. They just fell to the wrong players.
Exactly, and that's what we about all the games that we drew this season so far, or even some of the games that we won. We could have scored a lot more, but they've gone to the wrong player. At the moment, the issue is for me is it's the substitution issue. It's the fact that Conte is not changing his formation when it's looking like we're struggling. He's not changing, but he's not theirs either.
What changes would you have made?
Personally, I would have saw Son come off. I would have saw what he did with Kulusevski earlier, but I'm not criticizing him, but I am at the same time. I'm just saying that could have happened earlier. I think Emerson should have not even played. I think it should have been, if Doherty's still injured, that's fine. We've got Spence, and I think Spence is a far greater attacking player. He's far quicker, and he still has the defensive capabilities. Maybe not as much as Emerson, but maybe to a certain extent similar to Emerson. We saw when he played for Nottingham Forest that he has defensive capability whilst having superb attacking capability against Premier League clubs, let alone clubs from other countries. Like
Spence was on the bench and so was Doherty. So, yep, that was possible. Would you have made any other changes to the formation or to any other players coming on or off?
I would have liked to see Skippy, but I don't know who I would take off for him. Probably Bentancur this game.
Skip ahead of Bissouma?
I mean, I would have given any change in the midfield would have been fine with me. Yeah, maybe not taking off Højbjerg, but taking off Bentancur for either Bissouma or Skip. Personally, I would go for Skip because I haven't seen him play for this season. I think he hasn't played this season, has he yet?
No.
So I would have liked to see Skip have a go because I know that Skip has the passion. We saw it last season. He has the passion. So why didn't he get a go? Yeah. I just want what I would like, and I know that quite a few Spurs fans will be on the same, maybe not the majority, but quite a few will be on the same idea of we need to see more, less stubbornness and more adjusting to the game situation. We are not scoring, okay? Change up a little bit, do a bit of at least something, and maybe we can find a breakthrough. Just me. I mean. If anyone disagrees, that's fair, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think that to an extent you have to agree with that because, as you said, I think the Kulu substitution should have happened earlier, maybe even at half time, because it was so apparent that this game was not going to switch in any way or shape or form. It was just purely a balanced game. yes, maybe Lisbon edged some certain statistics, but the fact of the matter is it was very much on a typical game that you would expect a 0-0 kind of result, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what happened at the end was just crazy. But that aside, I think we had a relatively big bench there. Arguably, there's not players that could potentially, other than Kulusevski.
Do you want me to read out the bench?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So we had Fraser Foster in goal, Clement Longley, Doherty, Davinson Sanchez, Jefferson Kanga, Jed Spence, Bissouma, Sessegnon, Kulusevski, Skip, White and Hill. So in terms of an attacking sense, we had Brian Hill, Kulusevski, and maybe you could put Bissouma in there, possibly Doherty or Sessegnon if they get forward enough. Which, so you'd say 2 definite attacking options, 3 at a push.
Yeah, fair.
I think your point though still stands to the extent I'm going to say it's stubbornness, but the chance to change something when it would have really mattered. I'm not Conte, I'm not an elite manager like he is. Obviously, I'm just sat here, but you can tell you don't have to be a super fan to realise something needs to change here, and I don't know. I thought Conte wasn't emotional to an extent to his players. I know he's been talking about Son a lot in press conferences and stuff about a family member or whatever. But that just needs to be put aside now. You're a winner. You want to be doing things that will change a game. So yeah, I think something could have changed. I think you're right there. I think something could have changed, but it is what it is.
The thing I have a small issue is when people say that if we bench Son and Son's gonna get upset. Well, actually, if that's the case, then maybe he has a bad attitude. We had a go. We've had to go at quite a few players for whining when they're benched.
Yeah.
Why aren't we whining about when Son's getting benched?
Yeah, and also let him be annoyed in a positive way, because this is why I asked the previous caller about, should Son start against Leicester, because arguably Leicester is a relatively winnable game, as we hope it will be. And that could be an opportunity for him to scale up and get the goal that he probably needs to infuse the confidence and start his rally again. But the other side of the coin is well, hang on a minute, you've got 6-7 games behind you, nothing's really been happening. Don't bring it in. So maybe do bench him, but bring him on for 20 minutes and make him realise that I think he knows he hasn't been performing well enough. He can only blame himself. And if he wants to get annoyed about that, let's see if he reacts in a positive way potentially. So if that does happen on Leicester and he's on the bench, but he does come on for 20 minutes, we might see the spark of Son that we saw most of last season. I don't know what's happened really with him. It's a really weird one. Some players go off the ball, but it's just, I don't get it. I don't get it.
All players have a patch in their career or in a season where they're out of form. Okay, he's just out of form, and there's 2 ways you fix it. You either keep playing him until he finds form again, or you drop him and he has to fight for his place back. Conte so far is choosing to keep playing him. Okay, there's no wrong or right. Once he finds form, and he will because he's class. Yeah. But until then, it's not just Son, is it? There's many players. Yeah, there's many players in this team that Bentancur today. I'm sorry, wasn't that good. Bentancur wasn't very good today.
I would personally say that Bentancur was one of our worst players, if not the worst player that we had on the pitch.
He didn't have a good game.
He's had a few of those this season.
But this season, Bentancur has proven that he can. If he's had at least a couple of good games in my eyes, though.
Yeah.
I don't see. I guess we can say Fulham, but did Son get an assist or a goal in the?
Master, do you know what it is for me, right? I don't think we've got good enough players. I think it's that straightforward. People will say to me, "Oh, but when he had Chelsea, he had Victor Moses. Yeah, but he also had N'Golo Kante and Matic in their prime in the middle.
And the rest.
In the middle. Yeah. Oh, but he had Victor Moses out wide. Yeah, but he also had William that could come on. He had Hazard on the other side. He had Azpilicueta. He had John Terry at centre back. he had a good team. He just
In their prime.
took it from an 8 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10
Yeah, like
in their prime. Yeah.
when people say, yeah, he took a team from 10th to 1st, yes, but you have to bear in mind that he was given almost free roaming when it came to financial things, basically. So
Diego Costa was the striker in his prime.
It's going to take us a few windows. We know that. I think
Oh,
we've
absolutely.
just got to manage some expectations here.
I've not got. So I agree with Stel. I'll probably give the transfer window now a 5 out of 10. I was saying 6 and 7s beforehand, but now that I've actually gone through it and time has smacked knowledge into me, I probably say it's a 5 as well, because we didn't actually boost the areas we needed to. I mean, we got Jed Spencer on the right wing back, but it looks like Conte has, I'm not going to say little to no respect, but he has no trust there, even though I think we all would want to see him at least get a go, specifically in a match like this. Yeah, he'll probably target the Premier League more than he would the Champions League. Or maybe he won't. We don't know. I can't read his mind. But like when it comes down to it, the players that we got, the only one that I've actually seen break into the squad properly has been Richarlison. And
He was all right tonight, Richarlison. Nothing, not bad, not great.
Yeah,
He missed a header that he should have
No
scored.
one stood out,
Put a
didn't
couple
they?
of decent passes forward, but
in a nutshell, a lot of Spurs fans complain about the creativity issue. Kulusevski is a creative player in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a very creative player. Look at what he did in that Marseille game. He changed the game for us essentially. I wouldn't have lost Marseille. I was there, and we wouldn't have lost against Marseille if we didn't make any changes, or at least it would have been a 0-0 or something along. Kulusevski completely changes the atmosphere.
Master, I think the biggest issue with creativity is more how does the ball go from the defence to the front three? Where's the creative bit there? And then you're looking at Bentancur, Højbjerg, Perisic, and Emerson. And other than Perisic, there's nothing.
I'd give Højbjerg a bit of creative input. I mean, he's done a couple of a few very good passes forward this season.
He's not Eriksen though, is he?
Oh God, no! I'm not.
And that's what we need. That's what we need.
Missing, yeah, for sure.
But I am saying that look, he's scored a couple of goals and he's made a couple of assists. He's by far the best midfielder we have at the moment.
Do you know what I think Højbjerg is? I think he's a holding mid that can be progressive. That's what I think he is. But is he a ball playing, control the game type player or killer pass creative? No, he's not. And that's the sidekick he needs. Bentancur showed signs of it, but he's just inconsistent. Bentancur is inconsistent.
But that's where rotation comes into play.
Yeah.
We rotated our midfield at all. We did it for one game.
Yeah.
And yes, it didn't work. But since then, we have seen no change in our midfield. Why? We spent money on Basuma, and we've seen him play once. Yes, it wasn't correct, but we haven't seen his first actual. How many times was he subbed on before he started? I think it was like once. Kulusevski subbed on, I think, 2 or 3 times before he started a match against.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with Kulusevski being started on the bench. I didn't agree with it when it happened the last game against Marseille, so I'm on your side on that one. But
the idea that our front three should be Richarlison, Kane, Kulusevski. Richarlison is an amazing player, and look, is he worth 60 million? Time will tell. I would say that right now he's probably our one, if not our best forward, one of our best forward. Yeah, how he's acting now. I'm not saying that he is in all time. Don't quote me on that.
I'm on the fence with Richarlison. I'm not going to lie. I haven't made up my mind yet.
Yeah,
I haven't made up my mind.
Some more time, but yeah, he's made a great start.
But I see why he's becoming a fan favourite though. I do see why.
He's the shithousery that we needed. He is what I'm sorry about my language, by the way.
So you want?
Mourinho, honestly, when he was manager, you have to be I will not say that word because it is an atrocious word. And then we haven't bought players to suit that. With Richarlison, with Romero, we have started to build this team of mean kids. which we should have had 3 or 4 years ago when Poch went.
But what good is it though having a mean, aggressive, shithousery, soldier-like team when we can't keep possession of the ball? Like that's that for me. I'd rather have a bit more of a softer touch, but a team that can play ball.
It's gonna take a couple of windows. Like we know, I don't know why it has
We
to
lack
take
balance.
A couple
We
of
lack
windows.
balance. We lack balance right now. We're not a balanced team.
Yeah, we've had a long time to suss this out.
I would hope that by after this January and after the next days, I'm more positive on the doorstep. I would say that I would see in the next January window after the next summer window, us be on a somewhat, if not even playing field than the top people. Maybe not Man City, because that will take God knows how long. It's Man City. They can just buy whoever they want at this point. But with the slow building that we are doing, look, you can't argue that the window, even though it wasn't the greatest window, was still a positive window. It wasn't god awful. It wasn't like the last Mourinho one when we. If it was it the last Mourinho one when we bought in Ndombele and no. It wasn't like the one when we bought in Ndombele and Lo Celso, and we bought literally that would never be good for us. We've bought players that, yes, will hopefully be a good rotation / a good boost for us.
How many players out of the 7 that we've bought start regularly in our first team?
I'm not going to count Longley, although I do think that he would probably be after a few games.
I'm talking about right now, Ave Master. How many start regularly since we bought them?
Perisic and Charlison, so to speak.
That says to me there's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Because Chelsea signed Aubameyang, Cucurella, Koulibaly, pretty much everyone they've signed starts. Now, I'm not saying Chelsea are better than us or that they're great, but whatever's going on there, I don't care. The point is, look at Arsenal. Zinchenko, Jesus, Saliba came back. The whole point of a transfer window is to strengthen, right?
Yeah.
We haven't strengthened the first team, in my opinion, enough. We've signed 7 players, and I think that 2 of them go straight in, 2 of them we don't know, and 2 of them we don't know if they're ever going to play in the first team. I honestly question this window, and I questioned it when it happened, and I've been questioning it since I've been watching this season, because people say to me, like, but still, it's Conte and it's his tactics, it's not the players. Well, we've blamed every manager before Conte. We're surely not going to blame this one as well. And when you say that, the next argument is, but, you know, look at Potter. Look what he did at Brighton. Potter's been at Brighton for 3-4 years. Conte's been at what, 7-8 months?
Yeah.
It's like, give Conte the players, and he has proven he will win you the best trophies in the land.
I think he will get.
I think it's that simple.
I think he'll get the players. It just take time.
You have to put in perspective, though. We had Mourinho for 2 seasons, and we didn't even spend. We spent near to fuck all on him. Sorry about my language again.
We spent 140 million under Mourinho.
But we spent on the wrong players.
Well, yeah, we bought 9 players instead of 3 quality players. Yeah, I agree.
Do you think with Paratici or Paratici, or however you want to say it, do you think with Paratici we would have had a better time with Mourinho?
Simon?
Don't throw that on me. Possibly. It was a difficult season as well. We had like the pandemic and everything going on, which probably couldn't have been easy. I know like every team went through that, but I think
signing Paratici and signing Conte have been 2 very, very positive things upon us.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean much when now you're getting some funding, but not the funding.
Yeah, I think we need a couple of windows, and I'm sure they got something up their sleeves. But I was expecting a bit more in this summer, because they've had like 12 months to kind of think about it. It's not like the window opens and they go, right, we must think about this now. It should have been sort of targets all done.
Do you know what my worry is with this conversation about we need a couple of windows? It's 2 things. What happens if we don't get top 4? Where does that then leave us with the window? And also, how many more seasons are Son and Kane going to be okay with this? Because
not even that. It's just their age and stuff now, isn't it?
Yeah. They're not the young players they once were. That hunger, that trying to prove they're the best. They know they're the best. To motivate them now, we need to win trophies.
My issue was the idea of Arsenal didn't get top 4, and yet they still got class players.
They attracted Jesus is a quality player. Saliba they bought a couple of years ago, but that was very good scouting, I think.
Yeah, it's not
Zinchenko.
class players.
That was a good bit of business. Yeah.
They bought players that are good. They didn't buy players for the future. They didn't buy Destiny Udoji. They didn't buy.
But again, Avemaster, how long's Arteta been there?
He's been there for a while. He's got a
three years. It's only this year now we're saying maybe they're going to be really good, right?
Yeah.
But the first 2 years they were diabolical, absolutely atrocious.
They were awful.
Yeah, Conte isn't that kind of a manager. Conte's the kind of manager. Give him the tools, and he guarantees you success. What we're now talking about as Spurs fans is let's bring in a serial winner, not give him the tools, but turn him into a project manager. This is a very difficult thing to try and do, I think. I'm not getting this bit of it. Maybe it's me. Maybe I've misjudged it, but I just feel if you're going to do a project, then start buying young players and have a Graham Potter in or a Poch. Have that kind of a manager in that's going to
don't bring in a Conte
build.
Who wants the players proven now and will win you stuff now. I don't think. Look, it all comes down to what the board want. Do the board want to win stuff? I don't think so. They want profit, don't they? So they're not going to buy players ready now who have got 3 or 4 years. They want players who can show a lot of potential, then prove that potential, and then they can sell them for profit.
I think if that's what happens, Conte's walking. He's not going to stick around for that.
Well,
so
the question
we're going to find out eventually.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Before we go on to the next person, what's your quick prediction for Leicester City on Saturday?
Oh, crikey. I think we'll win, and I think it will be hopefully high scoring. So I'll go with what we did last time at home, and I'll say 3-1 to us.
3-1.
Yeah.
All right. Avmaster, thanks as always. And are you going to the game on Saturday?
I couldn't get tickets. I really tried.
Maybe try again, because there might be a few that got up for sale after tonight. You never know your luck.
I am not doubting that. I will have to look for tickets. Yeah, absolutely. But we'll see. I've got the day off now, so absolutely, I'll try and get tickets.
All right, man. Well, hopefully we see you there.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Cool. See you later.
Nice one, buddy.
See you later, dude. Be good. Do you know what, Simon? I don't want it to come across like it's all doom and gloom. It's one loss. I did say it when in instant reaction. It is only one loss. I think what it is, though, is it kind of feels like it was coming.
Yeah.
You go on any YouTube channel, Spurs, everyone was saying, is it sustainable? Is it sustainable? Tonight, the answer is, on this particular day, it wasn't sustainable. And I think that's where there's a bit of a... I think that's where it stems from. But anyway, okay.
There's one guy that will have the lowdown on this, I think. And his name is Rez.
What's up, chaps?
What a hero.
Hello, Rez. How are you?
I'm pissed.
Alcohol or mental stress?
The American definition.
Talk us through it, Rez. What's on your mind about this game today?
Maybe you need a drink.
all of the things that are wrong at Spurs, that have been wrong at Spurs for some time, were all on show today. Okay? Weak mentality, a culture of not giving a shit, and a weak squad that still hasn't been properly addressed. Now, I will acknowledge readily that this is a process. You're not going to fix the utter clusterfuck that was the Spurs squad when Conte first took over in the space of one transfer window. Okay? But the manner in which we went about it this summer was not strategic enough. We should have addressed the weakest part of the squad, which is our wing backs, because they are key to a Conte system. People are saying we need a creative midfielder, we need a creative midfielder, we need a creative midfielder. No, you don't. not if you have effective wing backs. We have one, and if you want 2 for each position, 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
Right? Hold on. Sorry, can someone turn? I think I'm hearing some background noise while I'm thinking. Anyway,
we can hear just you and only you in the studio, if that helps.
okay.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all that matters.
So
That's right.
Fuck you, sort them out.
Don't care about the backstage lot.
You know, a creative midfielder would be useful as an option, but it's not a key priority area for what we need. We needed to sort our wing backs out, and then we needed to sort our forwards out, and then we needed to sort our central defence out. Okay, we haven't done that properly. We looked at the central midfield. Yeah, they were good acquisitions, but it's not a key priority area. Wing backs was where it was. We got one decent one, and we got one for the future, and we're still stuck with 2 that have proven themselves to be suspect. And Emerson tonight demonstrated just why he does not belong in a Spurs shirt, because he is not a wing back that is in the mold of a Conte way of playing. Okay, the reason that we don't need a creative midfielder if we had decent wing backs is because the play is channeled through the flanks. True. And then you've got your 5 in your defensive unit to cover if the ball is turned over, and then the other side you've got 5 in attack to make things happen.
All right, let me ask you a question, just very quickly.
Yeah,
whose fault is it? Emerson's,
Levy.
Conte's, Paratici,
Levy's.
Right. If it's Levy's, then why has Conte tolerated this? Why has he accepted this and continues to play when there's 2 other options available?
I think he is basically he's had these discussions. I think he's in it for the long haul, right? He's in it for a long-term project because he's not done that before. And I think he relishes the idea because there's been stuff that he's said about, long-term ideas and, there's a process going on. There's 2 or 3 transfer windows to come and all of that stuff. And I think what he wants to do is to transform, almost in a way, be the Ferguson for Man United, what Ferguson was for Man United. Man United were moribund for since the 60s until Ferguson took over and transformed them, and he turned them into a giant club again, which they always were. They were big, but they'd had very sketchy success. A bit like Spurs, in actual fact. Weirdly, we could have appointed Ferguson, and it might have been us that became the Man United that Man United became. But I think what he wants is a project in which he can turn around and take a sleeping club and turn them into winners again. With that in mind, I'm guessing he's showing a little bit more patience. I'm not convinced after that transfer window, though, that he is going to be given the right tools. Okay? Because if you've got a car that's broken in multiple areas, that isn't working in multiple areas, if, say, for instance, you don't have a decent set of cylinders, right? You don't go and change the dashboard, right? You fix the fucking cylinders. That's the priority area. And the priority area for us was wing back this season. 1 wing back in improvement on the left is not enough, right? We should have spent all our time this summer sorting out the wing back position, because your central midfield, your forwards, your central defence, all of those can wait. They can wait.
And the point, Rose, about Conte having this system of wing backs, you'd want the best you can possibly get, right?
Absolutely.
For his system to actually work.
Yeah.
So did we lose tonight because of Emerson then?
No, not just because of Emerson. I said there were multiple problems at Spurs. One of them is still that malaise that sometimes we step on the pitch and it's like we're playing Sunday League. I don't understand why these players seem incapable of showing intensity.
I agree, Rez. It's not even this
We
season,
did the first 15 minutes of each half, though.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
It's not enough.
Intensity
I just don't think they're good enough.
15 minutes,
I'm
mate.
watching
it should be
right
90
now
minutes of intensity.
Right now on the television, I've got Liverpool Ajax, right? And they are going at each other as if it's the final game of their season.
Yeah.
Right? They are ding-donging with each other, okay? It's 1-1, and you can't say which side has got the upper hand. But what you can say is that both of them are going at each other. They want to win this thing. Half the time we step out onto the pitch and it's like, oh, hey, this is nice. Let's have a little knockabout of football.
It hasn't. It has been like that for years, mate. I honestly, hand on heart, I can say it's been like that for years. Every game I go to, like nearly every week.
Okay, Simon.
And I'm sat there going, like, where's the energy?
What hasn't changed in 3 years?
What hasn't changed?
Yeah. Dyer, Davies.
Well, actually, this raises a really interesting point about how
Sessegnon.
teams change their mentality. Like, if you think about
Brian
Klopp
Hill.
when he started, their whole team transitioned after the first season, like, because it was like, yeah, I don't want to have any of this lot here anymore. Let's change the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? So, there it is,
Doherty.
the master.
Emerson wasn't even a Conte signing.
No, and I think it's going to take a few transfer windows at the end of the day. Like, that's simple facts. Like, is Conte going to see that through? Hopefully, he does.
Do Kane and Son know that?
I don't think they're going to.
Are they aware of that?
They're not going to stick around forever, mate, because they're.
Rez, you have a burglar in the house. Rez, behind you. Rez.
I know.
There's a burglar. Oh,
Fine.
okay.
It's not a problem. Yeah.
We've got a situation over these next windows. Things have to change anyway because some of these players are getting older, and the likes of Dyer and everything. Like, if you want a team to transition properly, you have to replace pretty much everyone, bar a couple of people that might deal with the philosophy of what you're trying to achieve with it. But there's question marks about the transfers and everything like this. But this game today, do you agree with Stell, guys, that this was a long time coming? Like, have you seen this pattern arising to another performance like we've seen today, but also then resulting in a defeat in the manner that we did?
It was always. Look, I've said we got a decent set of points and some decent results up till tonight, and I've always said that we will eventually lose a game. And when you lose a game, it's harder to sort of rake over the negative. When you win a game, you can celebrate the victory. You can celebrate the draw. But when you lose, there's little to be positive about, right? There's very little that you can sort of say, well, this was good, that was good, that was the other. I've tried to be quite balanced when we've got results and said, yeah, look, we should celebrate it. Good things have happened. And when I was on the fan show about a week ago for the Marseille game, I said, I was asked, when do we start to worry? And I said, when we start dropping points.
Yeah.
Right? It's all right, man. It's probably okay. Nobody else. When we start dropping points, we did that today. Okay. Now we start to worry, because when you lose like that, when you are insipid, when you are uninspired in your play, that is something that will continue unless the players take one big long look at themselves and say, do you know what? We are not going to accept that. For far too long, Spurs players have accepted mediocrity, have accepted insipid performances. Loads of times, we're a bit disappointed. We could have played a lot better. Yeah, you could have played a lot better. So why don't you go and fucking do it?
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think then? Because do you think Conte's gone and done a bit of a hairdryer moment after this game? And do you think he's going to change something for the weekend? Or do you think he's going to be like, right, see how you react, we'll keep the same team? What do you think is going to happen to it? I can't even imagine him being happy at all about today. And he's made it quite clear in previous games. I've come out of the home games, Marseille game and the Fulham game, coming out thinking that was really, really poor. I'm glad we won because it makes my journey nicer on the way home. But I was like, something needs to change here because these are the easier teams or the easier opportunities. Something's going to come along where we won't have an answer to it. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. What's the options?
That's the problem. Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. So what does Conte do? What does Conte do after this game today? What do we expect on the Leicester game?
It's nothing. All we're getting all of a sudden is bullshit excuses again, isn't it? Oh, Royal, he's had one bad game. He's shit going forward, but he's a good defender. Bullshit. Yeah. Play Kulusevski at right wing back. Why?
Yeah.
It was part of the front three, best front three.
Give Spence a chance.
Yeah, give Jed Spence a chance. We're just making excuses again
Bob,
for the hierarchy.
Do you know why? And I'm seeing it in the comments. Blame Conte or doesn't use the bench. Do you know why I don't blame Conte? Because we've blamed 14 managers before him. And do you know why I don't blame? And do you know why I refuse to say he's not using the bench enough? If you think those players on the bench are any better than what's on the pitch,
Yeah.
I give up. Maybe Emerson, there's an argument. Maybe possibly Longley, but he wasn't that good against Marseille. I don't think there's anything wow that comes off that bench.
The only set of players that you can have an argument over who you should be picking is our front three.
Yeah.
Because that's the only where we've got an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Basuma changes the game for us. I don't think Brian Hill certainly doesn't. I don't think. Yeah, look, Doherty and Spence might be better attacking. There's no doubt, but are they enough of a dramatic change to swing the game? I don't think so.
About sustainability, Stel. We have this chat on in the
every week. Every week we have it. Every week.
Bob's Bird TV, but it's. I always said, at the beginning of the season, it is all about the points for me. And the performances were irrelevant to an extent, although we were trying to be too harsh in some games. What my worry is, and I said this morning, is now we have to do something that we haven't done all season. And that's play well.
Yeah.
Play well and get results. And we've not done that all season. We haven't done that once, apart from probably Southampton and Fulham.
Even Southampton, we didn't play that well.
No. But yeah, it's about change. Now, so I know what you're saying. It's time for a change. I don't know what we changed, mate. I'll be honest with you.
Exactly.
What did we change?
Well, let's sack the manager because his tactics are wrong. Let's bring on Brian Hill and Ben and Tanganga and Fraser. That'll win it for us.
Anyone who says that needs to have their medication changed. All right? You cannot change Lloris for Fraser Forster and expect everything to change. You can't change Emerson with Jed Spence and expect everything to change. We need root and branch change at Spurs. And once again, our chairman is reluctant to do major surgery because it's expensive. He has still not learnt the lesson.
That's the reality of it.
Side of a football club is a black hole into which money disappears. Okay? Do not expect return on investment when it comes to the football side of things of a football club.
I feel like being told
off and shut the fuck up is my message to Levy.
That's fair enough. Guys, is there anything else you guys want to say? Or...
I don't know, mate, but I've been in a coma.
You stop lying.
I heard a rumour, Bob. We heard a rumour.
What's your channel again, Bobby?
Bob's Bird TV, 10:45 Saturday nights, of course.
I've got a channel too.
Yeah, he's got a channel as well.
What's your channel, Rez? What was that?
It's called Shelfside Spurs Show. We're out on Thursday, 7:30. I'm actually flying solo with a special guest co-host on Thursday. No, you're not on it, Si, because I wanted to bring you on, but I've never been able to catch you. But if you would like to come onto Shelfside Spurs,
I'm very elusive.
On Thursday at 7:30, we would be delighted to have you.
Stop with the bullshit excuses. Demand better, want better, believe better. Get over it.
Absolutely.
Get a grip, man.
Top four is success, though. Top four is a trophy. Top four is a trophy.
Yeah. That's the problem. That is the problem. We accept getting almost there. Not us, the fans. I'm talking about the hierarchy. Almost getting there is enough. As long as that money keeps coming in.
Yeah, true.
That's fine. But that difference between being in it and winning it is that much of the battle, but that much of the expense, right? It's that last few percentage points that are the most expensive, and that, in my view, looks like something that Levy is unwilling to fund.
We are going to find out this season for sure, Rez. That's no doubt. Rez, as always, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe and go and check out Shelfside Spur and Bob Spur TV, everyone.
Good to see you guys.
Rez and Bob Spur.
Big up.
Take care, chaps.
Big up, everyone. Simon, can I just quickly, before we bring in the next guy, very quickly, right? This whole thing about blaming Levy, blaming Enoch, it's always going to happen when we get a defeat that we don't expect, right? I think for me, what the biggest issue is right now, and this is where, you know, I'm looking at the comments and, the mixture of responses in the comments, it's, you know, if I reply to all of them, we'll be here all night. But what it is for me is, it's the way we're playing football. It's the style.
Yeah.
And that is something that bugs fans. And the only excuse fans will have for it is, but we're winning. Mm-hmm. Said it earlier on tonight. Yeah. Everyone's happy. Everyone will accept the style until we lose. We lost tonight. Mm-hmm. I predicted this. I said many shows, it's not sustainable. And my reason for it was, we don't have good enough players. And I did put that on the transfer window. That's why I gave it a 5 out of 10. I've yet to hear a reason or anyone defend it. At what point do we stop blaming managers, Simon? At what point do we say, you know, it's not the manager's fault anymore?
It's the go-to target, though, isn't it? It's the go-to situation because people know you can't switch 11 players in and out. You can't do that in one window. It's going to take a few, as I said. But this whole season and into last season, as I said just a minute ago, I remember finishing these games and leaving that stadium. I haven't left feeling massively uplifted. I've gone, oh, it's a good thing we've got 3 points. That's the main thing. But then you have to sit there and sometimes, and as Bobby said, like, you have a thing in your head where, like, our performances don't matter as long as the result's there. But there comes a time where you have to draw that line. There comes a time where you have to assess, like, this is going to become a problem at some point. And as I said, Kane and even Conte has come out openly into the Spurs TV channels and all the media channels and said, there's a problem here. Not a problem like the world's ending.
The way they've approached it isn't
They know.
The way.
They know it's a situation. But yet, every game, even after these interviews and the week after, we must play better next time. We must come out of the gates the next time. But it's the same thing. And it will bite you in the rear end. And we've seen that today.
Are you excited being a Spurs fan at the moment? Honestly,
not majorly. I'm excited that Conte is there, and I think he will oversee.
I'm not questioning your love or loyalty for the club. I'm just asking: are you excited? Me, I'm not excited. Watching.
I'm not excited.
Spurs,
but like,
really.
There's a balance to it. Like
I love the club to bits. Otherwise, I wouldn't do this. But.
I mean, there's some games where you're going to play well. And you might not get a result. You're going to play well, you get a result. And on the other side, not play well but get a result. And that's football, right? But there's too many. There are too many games. I think all of this season we have not played well. I can't. There's patches. There's patches.
Fulham was the best performance.
Not overall the full game. I think we were patchy in good places, but I can't see a consistent pattern. I still believe this will come. I still believe we will click. And maybe, just maybe, today's game was that switchover.
I hope so. I really hope it's the wake-up call. Let's bring on the next Spurs fan. Goes by the name of Ben Willis. Ben, it's not all doom and gloom. It's only one game. But tell us what you think, my man.
Well, I actually have written down 7 points. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
We can't wait to hear your report.
Point away, Ben. Point away.
One of them is specifically for Stel. But I wanted to say first that I think Son, it's a bit of a hard decision now at the point that we are now, but I thought Son should have started at the bench maybe this game or a game before this to actually then come up in the second half when the players are tired and with his speed, try and get a goal, really get that goal so his confidence starts building up because he's not been playing well for quite a while now. And when we play against teams that like to sit back against us, I think Kulu's a better player for that because he might not have the speed for a counter-attack, but because they're sitting deep, I think his ability is a lot better to get through around players. So that's one of my points. I don't know what you think about that, but I don't know. It's one of the things I had written down. And then there's the obvious one. I think. So I'm not currently in Barcelona, but I was born and raised in Barcelona, and all my friends are fans of Barcelona, and they still cannot believe, and they make fun of the fact that we bought Emerson.
No. He's a good player. He's going to come good. He's one for the future. He's defensively good.
Piss off.
I'm just repeating what I'm told when I say what you've just said.
No, you know what? All my friends in Barcelona know that he was shit, and they laugh at the fact that we bought him. They really do. And I look at him, and he's terrible. And tell me.
Ben, But let me just tell you very quickly my opinion on Emerson. Right, I don't think he's shit. I just feel if you are serious about winning a trophy like an FA Cup, and you're going to have to beat two really good teams in the process, if you want to win a league title or you really want to get to quarterfinals, semi-finals of Champions League, he's not the caliber of player for this system to do it.
I would agree as well on that.
If he was trying to get top 10, maybe be in a top 4 race like he was with us, I get it. But to go that level up, no.
Yeah, I'd agree on that. I'd really agree on that. But at the same thing, I've played as a right back and I've played as a right wing back, and I just look at Emerson and I look at Doherty. I'm not saying Doherty's better than Emerson. I just think he looks more natural going forward as a right wing back, and I don't like either of them. Like I was complaining about Doherty many times, many years before when he was playing right back. Now he has the chance to play in the position he feels more comfortable at right wing back, and Emerson's not a right wing back. Emerson's a right back apparently. I really don't think he's that good. I think he has to go. I just think he should be gone. That's my opinion on Emerson. I mean, I'm not saying he's the worst player because he's reached to the levels where he's at, but he's not at the level we want to be, and that's what you just said. So I agree on that. And then what was the other point I had?
Check the sheet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was considering maybe that. Well, we all watched the game. We had bits of the half where we felt quite dominant, attacking wise, and then at some points we just felt like we lost the midfield. Or, for example, the second half we just looked tired, which I really like. I don't want to complain on Conte's reasoning because he is a world class manager and his decisions have brought him to the point where he is today. And so I don't like to question them, but you'd think that when the players started to look a bit slower, they were dominating the midfield. Why did he not make a substitution? Maybe put Bissouma on that. He's got a bit more energy in him. He's a lot physical. I don't know. I'm not saying he would have changed the game, but at least it wouldn't have looked like they were dominating us every time they got a counter attack. They just felt they were so comfortable on the ball. We couldn't get the ball off them as soon as they had a counter attack. And it's not that they were fast; it's just they played well, and we couldn't get around them. But I don't know.
I think there's.
Would you have considered putting a third midfielder in, and maybe risk and taking one of the attacking players? I know it's not what we wanted because we want to attack.
I personally would not play 3-4-3 with the players we've got. I'm against the system based on the players we've got. Having said that, I heard what Rez said previously. I disagree with Rez on one thing, that we don't need a creative mid, and the reason is, as soon as you come up against a good team, they're going to nullify the wing backs, which means you then need to have another option, and that's where the creative mid comes in. When you play against a low block, there's no point having attacking wing backs. You need a creative mid. So you need both. You need attacking wing backs and a creative mid. So if you do change the system,
midfielder, I really wanted like.
Well, if you do change the system to a creative midfield, to have a creative midfielder, sorry, if you change to a 3-5-2, we don't have a creative mid for that role. So you've got to either put Kulu or Moore in there and hope they can do the Ericsson role, which I don't think they can. And why would you take Kulu out of the role that you've just praised him for? So the other option is you do what Simon said earlier. I don't know if you were listening during the show. You play one holding mid and one attacking mid. But if you do that, the holding mid can't lose possession of the ball, which means you need a Moussa Dembele player, which we don't have. So, Ben, in my view, it goes back to what I said. We don't have the players at the club. I don't think we've got the players at the club for it.
Hobie and Bentancur did play well. And when you say we don't have the players at the club, I feel that there's a lot of complaining as well. Like, we keep complaining. Like, okay, I might be biased on this specific player, Eric Dyer, because I really like Eric Dyer. But people then complain about Ben Davies. And then you've said that Lenglet, it's not there yet. And Sessegnon, for example. Thing is, we might complain about the defense, but the defense have kept us from conceding a goal for the last 80 minutes, almost 90 minutes. Our attacking players were the only ones who couldn't get a goal for us.
Yeah.
And our midfielders couldn't seem to support them. So we can complain about our defense all the time, and we can say that our defense is.
I think Ben's frozen.
Until Ben comes back, I think he's making a interesting point. If it comes back to your point still about Ben,
repeat that last bit.
Yeah, sorry, I was just saying that we complain a lot about specific players in the defense, and at the end of the day, we can't get those attacking moments. Our attacking players couldn't get a goal, and our defense was keeping in 80 minutes the goal with with a clean sheet. And I just feel, and our midfielders weren't supporting them, so I feel like we maybe go too. I know they're like players that have been here for a long time, and we've seen them make mistakes. But for example, you brought up the point earlier of what Conte did with Chelsea, that he brought them from a bottom league to the top. But the players that are now what we you like you said, he had an Eden Hazard, he had a William, he had whatever. Like those players were nobodies at the time. Conte
No,
kind of,
Hazard was class.
but Conte
Hazard was absolute
made them,
class.
pushed them forward because nobody would have said they were good players before Conte.
Ben, you are not going to tell me that the players Chelsea have got under Conte, we have the same caliber other than Son, Kane, and Kulusevski.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying.
John Terry was an elite defender, one of the finest ever the Premier League seen.
I'm not saying that. I'm just pointing the fact that Conte brings out the good out of most of the players. So when we complain about the Eric Dyers, the Ben Davis, when they've been playing so well and they've kept the clean sheet for the last 80 minutes, and now our attacking players who we praise so much couldn't get the goal. I really don't like it when that happens. And obviously it was meant to happen. It's one loss, people. It's one loss. We cannot give up.
So do you blame? Let me get this clear so I can understand. Because you make a good point here. Are you then therefore saying that the reason we lost tonight was because of the attackers?
Well, I'll tell you what. The only attacking player that I thought was doing something was Richarlison until Kulu came on. Because Kane had maybe 2-3 opportunities where he actually might have created an assist or a shot, but that's 2 or 3 chances in the entire game. I don't think Son had a chance on goal. And so...
Why was Kane having to drop into the middle to make those creative chances?
Well, we wanted that creative midfielder, right? We wanted someone to be able...
So we can't blame the attackers then if there's no one supplying them.
We can keep complaining about the board, and I would have loved the creative midfield. I wanted James Maddison in. I really wanted it to happen, but it wasn't happening. But even so, we've played before when we've scored before under Conte when Harry Kane hasn't had to drop deep. Is playing through the wing backs, and I agree again. Emerson is not one of the wing backs. Like I felt like every time we had to give the ball to Perisic because Emerson is good enough. It just wasn't good enough. And then
Ben, shall I tell you? I'm going to back up what I say that these players aren't. They're not good enough to go to the next level, right? For a top 4 race, no doubt, we are in that race and we will be in it to the end. But to go to the next level, if you look at the games this season, the games we struggled against was Chelsea, who played us off the park, West Ham away, a London derby away. So the toughest games this season, we didn't deserve to win, and we didn't. This is now Champions League. We're now playing the best teams in Europe. Make what you want of Marseille and Frankfurt. Yeah, we've got an easier group. These teams can play football, and we struggled tonight. I just feel we look good against... I just feel we do well and get the results against weaker opposition. Nottingham Forest are in the bottom 10. Fulham are in the bottom 10. Wolverhampton, I think, are in the bottom 10. And there's one other team we beat this season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your point stands. We struggle.
Still, I agree. I agree that we haven't got the team for the elite. We might have a team to reach top 4.
Yeah, and this is elite. Champions League is the elite, Ben, right?
Top 4. I don't believe we can be first in the league, first in the Premier League, or maybe we have to be very lucky to win a Champions League. Like very lucky, I think, because there's so many top teams there. But still, I don't like it when we complain about the players. Because I do want to believe that there's a progress. I think within this January
there is.
Something will happen, and we might. Stell made a good point that we might have not improved the squad since the transfer window. We didn't improve it, but we held the level, which is why I believe. Because last season,
I agree with that. We've held the level. I agree with that.
When we had to make a substitution, we had to bring down the level. Like when we bring our Harry Winks on, it was like. I'm sorry, Winks, because I don't like to disrespect him.
No, he's right. If Bentancur's injured, Basuma comes on. If Son's injured, Richarlison comes on. If Davies injured, Lenglet comes on. There's a better. There's
a like for like now.
The level
a bit more.
The level is held, kind of. Let's say, And then
Yeah.
there's
That
one
makes
last
sense.
thing I wanted to. No, actually, two things that were specifically for you, Stel, because you said a minute.
This is the most thorough analysis ever. I love it.
This just
Sorry,
I love it.
and then I'm finished. And then I'm finished.
No, I love it. I love it.
Minute 85, there's a foul quite far away from our box. Stel says, I don't think nothing will come from this. They're not good in the air. 2 minutes later, header from a corner.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. They got a corner, and it was a fantastic header as well.
Yeah.
The thing is, all game they did nothing in the air, but then you know what? Sod's law. You say it, and then bang.
I swear, I said when you said it, I was like, "Oh, you've got to jinx it. Now something's going to happen." And nothing happened.
I've jinxed it, haven't I? I jinxed it.
Nothing happened in the foul, but then I saw the corner, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come on the show. I'm gonna tell him."
I think we controlled.
I'll apologise to the fan base immediately after the show.
I think we controlled most of the game quite well, but again, it was lack of concentration and mistake that led to both those goals. It was inevitable that's how we were going to concede.
We didn't play awfully. Our chances wasn't fully well taken. Our chances weren't great. The chances we did have, we didn't put them in. And then by the second half, I just think we were trying to create those lazy passes to just cross the whole field, and it wasn't working for us. So that's what happened.
The first goal, I think the corner originally came from a mistake from the back somewhere, but I was more disappointed with the second one because it was literally like the team had completely switched off, and it was like, that's that game done then.
That nutmeg was fast though. That was such a good nutmeg.
Yeah.
Romero, I think Romero's. I don't know if it's his ability. He's not fully fit.
He's carrying
or
an injury, 100%.
Or he's been told not to be so aggressive because he's been knocking people over, and now he's not doing it.
I think his passion would take over immediately, whether he was told or not about his aggression and stuff. But I think there was a run back where I can't remember when it exactly was, but he was not able to. Yeah, and it wasn't like he wasn't trying to. It was like he can't. I'm sure when you were playing, Ben, certainly when I played many times, you want to put the 100% in, but you know that your body will not allow you to do it right now. And the second goal was the same. In fact, it was the Fulham game, wasn't it? The Fulham game, Romero was pretty much exactly the same situation tonight. It was just that not lapse of concentration. There's some he's
Fulham and Longley both got caught.
He's not right. He shouldn't be playing for a few more weeks. I honestly.
Yeah, but then you're talking about Champions League with Davinson Sanchez in a back three. It's frightening.
There was no choice
unless you bring in Longley and play Davies.
I tell you what, since we've had Davinson Sanchez, we haven't conceded, haven't we?
Yes, we did.
That went out the window. The Fulham game.
Well, he did well. Though. He did well, and we still won. And we still won. Sorry. Say finish.
No. I was just going to say I wouldn't be surprised if Romero wasn't playing this weekend. There's something I think he was rushed back too quick, and I know why he was rushed back because they want him to play if he's relatively available, whatever condition that might be in. But we don't want another Ledley King situation where he just keeps getting the same injury.
What would you do in this next game with Son? Because I think it is a game for scoring goals. But
this is the exact point I made earlier.
I think so. He has to come on, but because I really think that he had to stay on the bench, come out half when players are tired, and he gets a goal.
Ben, I've been hearing for weeks the next game, and then I heard it. Sporting Lisbon, perfect game. It's like every week the next game's. Do you know what? No game is perfect. One day, whenever the penny's just going to drop again, and he'll be all right.
Yeah, of course.
When it is, God knows.
And then there was
your point there, Ben, is right. I think there's a question there. Like, I think Conte has to make some decisions after tonight and actually assess himself in terms of his selections. Like Rez and Bobby before, you just said like. They may be excuse selections to come in, but I would rather see, honestly, Spence than Emerson because I haven't seen what Spence is capable of doing or not. And you're only going to see that if you start playing the boy. Like, it's as simple as that.
Base.
Yeah, and it's the same with Son right now. I'll back Son every day. I know when he gets a goal, he will start flying again. But you have to draw a line. You have to take the emotion out. And as an elite supposed manager that Conte is, and sticks to his guns like he does with every other player, take the emotion out of the love for Son and go, mate, you haven't scored for like 6, 7, 8 games now. Stay on the bench. If you're angry about it, fuel that inside you and come off the bench on Leicester and bang in a couple. But
Exactly.
right now, Kulu is the best option for us in that Richarlison Kulu situation on that top three. And end of story, really. As much as I want to see Son, I want to see. I could see Son starting that Leicester game and scoring goals. But as Stel just said, like, how many times you keep having that repeated story every week, there is a conclusive line that you have to draw and go, sorry, pal, love you to bits, but we're a club here, we're a team here that needs to progress and score goals. We're not scoring enough goals. The performances aren't good across the whole entire team. We need to change not the structure's not going to change, but some of the players. I want to see energy. Kulu has power and energy. Spence, we know, has energy, power, desire, and probably massive dedication in his head to prove a point. And there's an extent to Basuma as well that needs to have some game time. I think Leicester's the perfect opportunity to put 3 players in there that need to drive their morale as well and start playing.
Yeah, completely agree on that. And then the last thing, and then I'm gone because I've been here for quite a bit, is I heard Stel said he was
This
on...
is all Stel's fault.
Yeah, sorry, Stel.
You keep going.
You said you were on the fence about Richarlison. You hadn't made your mind on it.
Yeah.
Let me give you a good push over. I was watching Everton last season before they got, like, when they were barely getting relegated. They were so close to being relegated. Like, I watched the entire season for them. And since there were the rumours of Richarlison, Gabriel Jesus and Rafinha, from day one, I said, I want Richarlison in this squad. The reason why, his way of playing in Everton fitted so much better in our squad at Tottenham. The way he, at Everton, dropped deep, threw long balls for Anthony Gordon, who we almost signed as well, apparently. That was something that he could play as a second striker, so he could take that role of Kane if Kane needs a rest. So I thought it was perfect. Then also it was great because Son has a bit of competition on the left wing.
Yes.
He's been playing on the right wing, sadly, but it gives that option, that versatility, because he's so fast, he's so hungry for goals. I've watched him play. It's not only the goals and his skills, it's the way he moves. It's great. He was offside a couple of times today, sadly, but the way he played, it just promised me that he was the player. Gabriel Jesus playing at Manchester City, top. No, not him. I didn't want him. Rafinha, I didn't want him. Go to Barcelona. I don't want you. You're not going to be good playing as a left winger for us. You're going to struggle to compete against Son. And I was like, Richarlison has to be the one. And I'm so happy we got him. Like, you don't know how. It's the best signing I think we could have done. And people say, is the 50 or 60 million worth? I say it is. I really, truly say it is. Look, he scored the first 2 goals for us at the Champions League. Nobody else seemed to be scoring for us. I thought it was perfect for us.
Ben, I'm down to 49%.
What do you mean you're down to 49%?
I'll tell you what, I'm probably going to do another watch along before the World Cup begins. Come on that next watch along that I'm on, and we'll see. We don't know, because I am on the fence still. We'll see where we're at with Richarlison. I want to see the next 7-8 games.
Though.
I would have taken Jesus personally, but I don't think he would have come and been second fiddle to Kane and Son.
A top player.
No chance. We don't want.
I would have taken Jesus. But listen, let's see. Let's see what Richarlison does. He's our second top goal scorer, I believe.
I think so.
He scored 2. Yeah. Who else has scored 2? Kulu's got 1.
He's got a couple, I think.
Harry's our top goal scorer.
Joint.
Yeah, I think Richarlison's our second top goal scorer.
Guys, I'll let you.
Thank you, Ben.
Ben, listen, that was a fantastic call, my man. Keep it up. Loved
See you
it.
guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Come on. Spurs.
Come
Thanks,
on, the
Ben.
Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. And before we go into the next one, Steph,
I've
I think
got 4 super chats to get through as well, but go
I'm
for
just
it.
going to shout Marseille have just lost at home 1-0 to Frankfurt.
So that means we are second in the group. Okay, not all doom and gloom. A couple of super chats quickly. One from Kran Kashar. It takes 1 window and 1 player. Hakimi. Now that would be a top signing. Silver Service says this fan base won't accept any other stator except attacking style Poch. We're going to win nothing if this continues. Conte in. I agree. Calling for Conte or blasting him, disagree with,
crazy,
but
yeah.
everyone's allowed their opinion. The resonator, I think that's Res. It's not. It's not that we shouldn't have a creative mid. I was answering what I said. Only that because it's an option, it's not a priority. A wing back says, yeah, I agree, it's not a priority. The right wing back is a priority. I agree with Res on that. And I think there's one more. Yep, Silver Surfer again says, we all know Emerson is shit. That's what he said. But how can we say Emerson out when the transfer window is closed? We can't say out. Spence will get his chance at the right time.
We can say be out of the team, though.
Yeah. Yeah, out of the team, not out the club.
Out of the pitch onto the bench.
All right, I cannot wait to hear what this guy has to say next. I love him to bits. It's Dan THFC. Dan, bring your American thunder, my man. Bring it.
I mean, I've got to say, before we start off, I'm a bit of a fraud here. Last time I came on, I did the pre-match here.
I'm a bit of a fraud. What a start.
They asked me, mate, what's the name of this Marcus Edwards. They asked me, who's Marcus Edwards? And I was like, oh, I've never, no, they asked me, what did I think of Marcus Edwards coming back to play against Tottenham? And I was like, oh, I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
I'm a fraud. Like, I've got to apologize. I'm an absolute fraud for that. Yeah,
I think there's a lot, Dan. I think there's a lot of fans that didn't know that. To be fair, I think there's a lot of fans that wouldn't know that.
I started becoming a hardcore Spurs fan not too long ago. I was like watching them. I supported them before, but like it was very recent when I became a hardcore Spurs fan. But I've got to say, I'm a bit of a fraud for that. But I want to say this one piece, and that is Antonio Conte brought on one player from the bench. He has the chance to bring on 5. Now look at Sporting. They brought 2 players. Well, they brought more than 2 players off the bench. The 2 players that scored were the ones that they brought off the bench. The substitutions make difference, and Conte does not trust who he has on the bench. It was really I'm not sure
Dan,
this season.
Sorry, hold that thought. Right, I'm gonna call you on this straight away because this was absolutely blowing up in the comments tonight. You just said he doesn't trust his bench. Therefore, does that not back up what I say that the players aren't good enough for the next level? We are now in Champions League. We're not Europa Conference League like last year. So if he doesn't trust the bench, Dan, who is that on?
That's on the recruitment. But that's the thing, though. I'm on with you. Like you say, if Conte did not get the players that he wanted, why is he still here?
I don't know. That's the enigma that I can't answer. Maybe Simon has got a more intellectual response than me, but I think
there's a project, isn't there? Like to an extent, there's more windows to come. We have to. There's 2 sides to this coin for me. Is from a business sense and a strategy sense. Like we knew a season ago or so that the team needed changing. I don't understand how we can go 12 months not identifying the exact players we need and then working out exactly what we need to do and go and get those players, irrespective of cost and things like this. And we achieved like maybe 50% of what we needed to do in the summer. Now, of course, things might happen in January, and we got players coming next summer. I mean, we signed Sarr last summer, and I haven't seen him.
He's not gone out on loan. He's still at the club.
Yeah, and this is the thing.
Yeah.
And
Brian
that's
Hill.
the thing. Yeah. That's the thing at this football club. We don't have, like, obviously now you could say that Antonio Conte is trying to build something for the future and he's planning to stay here for a long term. But in the last few years, we've been up and down. We've had Pochettino. We've got Jose Mourinho. We had
Nuno, Ryan Mason.
The plan that we have to play football, it doesn't make sense. There's not a certain football that Daniel Levy is trying to play. And it's been frustrating because then you got players that, like, even if Pep Guardiola was available and we had just sacked Conte, we would go for Pep Guardiola because there's no identity to the football we want to play. That's the problem with this is when you want to play attacking football and when we're going to have more of the ball, you buy players that fit that system. Then the next year you sack them and you bring in a player that manages the defensive. You've got a mess. And then you've got to rebuild after rebuild after rebuild after rebuild.
There's some players there, and Stell's mentioned a few of them earlier. Yeah, I love all the Spurs players. Like, I'm a Spurs fan and always back any player that wears the shirt, irrespective of if they're terrible or not. That's just how I am. But there are players that have been a long time, and your exact point there. Some of those players have been through probably 3 or 4 managers, maybe even more. I don't know. And there comes a point where big clubs like
Dyer's been here a long time.
yeah,
Ben
like
Davies, I
these
think,
clubs
10
like
years.
Liverpool and City that
years.
go, yeah, thanks for your service, but
9,
we
10
don't really
years.
care anymore. Go away. We need to bring in players that match the manager's ambition or level of intensity and commitment and all this stuff. Don't get me wrong. I don't think our players aren't committed. I think they come very professional and all this and that. But Stell's point earlier about some of them being average, this has been a problem for a long time. This isn't something that's just happened this summer. But we've also not just this problem of average players. We've now got another problem of some of these players being there for so long that they're aging. And it's really sad to see in that instance, because some of these players should have probably won title or at least some trophies in that time. But majority of those players got moved on. Some players we didn't even want to go, but they were sold because we could get a 10 million from in the January. One of them is one of Stell's favourites, Dembele, and I was furious when that happened, but some stayed. So it's exactly your point, is that some players that remain not necessarily have the philosophy of previous managers, but they're also confused as to like, how long is this manager going to last? Or like, I've got like 3 or 4 different philosophies in my head. I still can't click with the one that you want, but the other players do. And all of a sudden you have a bit of a mismatch in the squad, which is why I think we don't have an identity. I agree with you. I don't think we have an identity, and I haven't felt that all season at all. We've come away with some wins, but I've left the stadium thinking this is quite underwhelming. Like, maybe that's me being expecting too much, but I expect a bit of a performance as well as a win, but also the confidence to go, we played well today and we deserved that win.
Yeah, definitely.
Your point is exact there, Dan.
You even look on to players like Emerson. I'm not even going to get into Emerson's performance, but what I'm going to say about him is that he's 23 years old. I would make a bet that this player will be here for the next 2 years minimum. We will not get rid of him in the next 2 years. Trust me on that. We'll keep him. He'll have few good performances. Twitter will be starting calling him the next coming of Roberto Carlos, and it will come into this thing that we've seen time and time again, where he's gonna stay for such a long time, and then it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna be like, you look at Dele Alli. Obviously, there's many other examples. Dele Alli, we've been saying for 2 seasons that we need to sell him. Now we sell him. You look at Harry Winks. We haven't even sold him yet. Like, it's like players get stuck in this team. And I used to say that it was these fans that were stuck with the Pochettino style, that there was some players that were from the Pochettino era and they didn't want to get rid of them. But Emerson Royale's not. And I promise you, and look, you can even look at Matthew Doherty. He's been here for a while now.
Dan, let me ask you a question.
These players have been here for.
Dan, let me ask you a question. If we brought on fresh legs in the middle of the park, let's say we brought on Bissouma, or let's say, and we brought on, I don't know, Sessegnon for Perisic, do we not lose that game? Is that the game-changing move? Does that change the result? Does that stop Emerson getting nutmegged? Does that stop Romero not being able to get back because he hasn't been able to get back all game?
No, there's definitely moments in the game.
Does Bissouma defend that header that 2 defenders went up for and couldn't defend? By bringing on fresh legs with 15 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go, does that win us the game?
No, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
I'm asking you. I'm asking the question, Dan. I want to know.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But you know something.
No, it doesn't.
Hindsight is a very beautiful thing. Hindsight is a very beautiful thing. You could say, "Oh, if we would have done this, we would have won the game." "Oh, if we would have done this, we would have lost." Hindsight is a very beautiful thing, and you can always say these type of things, but you can never be 100% sure. And I don't think it would have changed the game, personally, but we'll never know, to be completely honest with you. Yeah. And we need to have going into the season. I thought we had pretty good squad depth, but we don't if the manager doesn't trust the players that are on the bench. I
think we've got numbers, Dan. I think numbers-wise, and I think in terms of some of the options we've got is better. My question is the quality overall. I don't think it's big enough of a jump to go to that next level. I think what we've done, and Ben, I have to say, the last guy, Ben, hit the nail on the head. We've maintained the level. We haven't gone backwards. We haven't gone forward. We've procrastinated. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. top 4 race. That's what we are. We're a top 4 race club. Now in January, if we go and buy Milenkovic-Savic, Bastoni, I'm just throwing names
James
out.
Ward-Prowse.
That take James Ward-Prowse. I can go with that, Dan. If we sign those players,
He's my number 1 target.
100% that takes us up a level. There's no question of a doubt. We go up a level, but we haven't done that, and we've just because don't forget the clubs around us: United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle. They've all strengthened as well. So what we've done is we've maintained.
Yeah.
We haven't used this Champions League as an advantage and said, right, we've got Champions League, we've got Conte, we're over COVID, the stadium's full, the money's coming in. Do you know what? Let's go for it. What we've done is we've said, let's do what we always do. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. And it shows in the play.
Yeah,
I think you see it in the play. That's my view. I know all fans are going to have their own view on it, and everyone's allowed their opinion. But
we can't get over us as well, because I think there's some Spurs fans that are very much overreacting, and it's not not something that you see not something that's new to me, because literally we lose a game and I go on Twitter and I'm expecting the Conte outs, which I did see today.
Meltdown.
I can't believe people are calling Conte out, man.
No,
honestly,
it's the easy go-to.
The thing that I like, not a single team on the style of football. I've got a very distinct opinion on this, but on the style of football, not one team right now is playing perfect football. Not one team in the Premier League is playing perfect football and winning.
Yeah.
I think City are playing really good football. I think Arsenal, as much as I hate it, I think they're playing good style of football.
They haven't won convincingly. We're on the same amount of points. Let's not forget that. We're not on the same amount of points as them. And they
lack clinical edge, Arsenal. Yeah. They lack clinical edge.
Yeah, they do. But as well, like Arsenal, they may be the only team you can make an argument for Arsenal, which I really hate to say.
Yeah.
But no other team. Look at Liverpool, they've been poor. Look at Chelsea, they've been poor, even though they've sacked them, Tuchel. There's been teams that they have got great quality, but they've not been playing well. So I think we do have to wait, and we do have to. But I do think with this Conte style, I think that what you shouldn't look at is the possession. I think what you should look at is the big chances created. And I've been saying this for a very long time, because in many games of this season, we've not dominated possession, but we've had more chances. And that's the more important thing. If we have more shots, it's more important, because what you need to win games is goals. And how do you get goals? You shoot. So I've been saying that for ages, not to look at the possession, look at the shots. Obviously, sometimes we're going to win games and have more possession, and we've done that last season. And to say that it's boring football, last season there was a point where we had the most goals in the Premier League scored. There was a stat like that last season, I remember. So it's not like this style of football is so terrible that we're not going to score goals.
Yeah, but that's my point. You say we had the most goals scored at one point and we had such a good defensive record. We haven't lost in the league in is it 12, 18 games, something like that? There's some kind of stat.
Impressive, yeah.
The point I'm raising, Dan, is that we haven't taken advantage of that. We haven't gone and really built on it. We haven't said, right, look what Conte's done in 6 months, which is nothing short of incredible. Let's be honest. From where we were under Nuno, what a turnaround. Has he really, whether it's him, Paratici, Levy, whoever, has the team, let's call it the team, because I don't want to upset fans, has the team built on that? I don't know. What I'm seeing right now, and I hear what you're saying, you make a great point, Dan. It's a brilliant point. Look at chances created. You're spot on, because in football, it's chances created that are then converted that win you games. My worry is, if you keep giving up possession, the other teams statistically have more of the ball, meaning they can create more if they're good enough. And tonight, when you look at the stats, Dan, Sporting matched us. Shots, passes, they outdid us. Shots, all the stats. Do you know what? They deserved it in the end.
Yeah, that's what today.
They deserved it.
Today they did dominate us. I've said, but last few games, people are saying that the other team dominated us, and I've been saying in the chat multiple times, you can have the ball, I'll take the goals, and
Correct.
it's that simple. But today, we didn't take more chances, and you can see it because the result because we lost. The other thing is that in the stats, you do look at it, and it says 2 big chances for Tottenham Hotspur, and 2 big chances for Sporting. Now that's 2 big chances for Sporting converted, and 2 chances missed for Tottenham. Clinicalness. We're not clinical enough.
We did say that. We did say they took their chances. We didn't. We
Yeah.
did say that.
Yeah.
But the fact, but should Sporting, a team that cost £240 million compared to our 681, should they be matching us, man?
Of course not.
That's-
Of course
yeah.
not. But the thing is,
You know,
did we expect to go into this Champions League group and win all our games?
I think a lot of fans looked at that.
No. I think
Well,
that
I didn't Dan. I didn't expect us to lose tonight. I'll be honest.
No, I didn't.
No, I
think
didn't,
we'd
but we
lose
never
tonight.
did. We didn't expect us to lose to Burnley. It's just sometimes you can't win all your games.
I've always been worried about
hopefully-
Frankfurt away, but not this one.
Yeah, Frankfurt have looked really, really poor. But
Yeah, they do look bad.
I think they won today though. But
They did.
Yeah.
they've been looking very worrying since they lost Kostic. But I still think that we will top our group. I don't think that that's changed.
Yeah.
And
I think we'll qualify. Yeah, I do.
I think this is more of fans' discontent with the performance than what it actually
Yeah.
means. It doesn't really mean much.
Dan, do you know what we said during the show
Yes,
tonight?
of
We
course.
said that if Spurs play like this, which is really boring and dull and crap, but get results, there's no argument. There is no argument. As soon as we don't win games, then you're going to see big unrest. And I think Rez said it as well when he called up. He goes, "It's all fine until you lose."
Yeah, it's been pushed to
100%.
everyone's back of the mind. Like I said, every game that I've come home from after the stadium and everything, I literally to the back of my head go, okay, well we didn't play well, but we got the 3 points. That's all that matters. But in the back of my head, when it was there, in my forefront of my mind in the first place was, we need to be careful with this. We need to address this. And as I said earlier, the players have addressed it. Conte has addressed it. Why aren't we doing something about it? And then whose responsibility is it to sort it out? Irrespective of the quality of these players, I expect and demand commitment, energy, enthusiasm, and all of that good stuff in every game. But today and a few other games, I haven't seen that requirement, and I don't understand why. Yes, some players are average and some players are good or great or whatever, but they're still, in my opinion, irrespective of that, good enough to be putting on a show or at least some form of intensity of the game. I haven't seen intensity in Tottenham for so long. And
Fulham.
And it will come to bite you. Patches of Fulham. Patches of Fulham.
Yeah, you're right, Patches.
But you need it from the very first minute throughout that whole game until the game's dead. When the game's dead and we're 3-0 up at 60 minutes, go and do what the hell you want.
Do you know what? I know a lot of fans are kind of a bit split about Pochettino, but I have to say, the football I watched under Pochettino in his first 3 years was nothing short of incredible.
It never stopped.
It was phenomenal, man. And I'm gutted. I'm gutted that we might not see that for a long time. But if we do win trophies under Conte doing it this way, I can't argue, I can't complain, and I can't, But I have my doubts with these players at the moment. But Dan, listen, quick prediction for Leicester City. Then we've got to go on to the next guy. Go, girl.
Yeah, Leicester City, I think, will win. I think that will be out of the next few games that we have, this is going to be one of the easiest ones, especially with their form. There's no easy game in the Premier League. Let me rephrase that. It will be one of the less difficult ones. But I think on their form, I would definitely expect us to win. And if Son comes on from the bench, I think that he could score in this one, but I don't want to see him starting. I don't know if Will Stewart's in the back end or if he can hear me, but Son Heung-min is a fraud. These last few performances, what has he been doing, mate? No, wait. He's had more. He's been more fraud. He's been more influential. He's been more influential in a Calvin Klein commercial than he's been all season.
My
what has he
goodness
done? What has he done? One assist.
Dad's lost
One
it.
assist.
Dad's lost
Nothing.
it.
Absolutely nothing.
We've just lost every South Korean viewer of this channel. Every single subscriber's just say he's out of form.
I love Son to absolute
That's
bits.
more like
I love
it.
him
That's
to
more like
absolute bits. But this
Son's a fraud.
season he's been so. Let me rephrase that. He's not a fraud. Come on, he's not.
Don't
He's
say
not
that.
a
Don't
fraud.
say that.
He's gonna come back this season. This will not be because, as I always say, form is temporary. A class is permanent.
Correct.
But Sonny, when is he going to come back? As you were saying, still, I keep hearing next game. Oh, let him start this game. I bet you he's going to score. Let him start this game. I bet you he's going to score. What is he doing? At the end of the day, as we had this debate on the Tottenham away channel, if Son plays for Manchester City, he's not starting. He's not starting. And then people coming to me saying, oh, but Man City's a better club. But that's what we should be aiming for. We should be setting those standards. And if Son is not going to score, and if Son is not going to be influential, and if Son is not going to be good, and he's not been playing good, I bet you, someone's going to bring up some stats. I'm not going to say the name of who's going to bring up the stats, but somebody needs to start talking about dropping Son and now, because it needs to happen this week. I don't want to see Son starting against Leicester City because I think he'll be more influential and I
Predict
think
the
it'll be
score.
better for him to come off from the bench and score.
Predict
I think the score will be 3-0.
All right, 3-0 and Sonny to come off the bench. We like it. Dan,
Sonny will
as
score.
always,
Sonny will
and
score.
Sonny's
but
going to score
off
as
the
well
bench.
because he's not quite a fraud,
the
semi-fraud. Dan, listen, big up yourself, and
See you on the next one.
as always, see you soon.
Come on, you Spurs,
See
and
ya,
get Harry
Dan.
Kane off
Nice
free
one.
kicks.
He's got a lot to say. I do like it. All right, and the next person we have on the show, I believe. Here he is. He's bad. It's news. It's KPV. How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm glad you're good. We're all right as well now. I think we're a bit better now. I've done a few
Then
chats. Talk to us. What do you make of it tonight?
To be honest, we were shit. Like, yeah, that's what I would say. Because, yeah, like Conte got his stuff wrong. Like, why would you start Ronaldo, who just won a Golden Boot this year? Like, and then, yeah, to be honest, I think Kulu needs to start against Leicester and the Frankfurters, as they're called. Yeah, Kulu needs to start because we've got Leicester this weekend, then we've got international break, then we play the Filth, then we've got Frankfurt 2 times. So
Yeah.
away and home. So I think Kulu needs to start those few games because he's a fan's favourite. Like, yeah, I know Richarlison is, but I think Kulu, it should be Kane, Kulu, Richarlison, the front three. I called it on Dave's channel last night, and it's that front three. Everyone, it's time to start those three. It's
Carl, let me ask you something, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think we lost tonight?
Like, I think it's probably because of, like, I know people probably can, it's probably Conte, probably, because, yeah, like, why would he keep the same team? We beat Marseille last week and he never changes the winning team. Like, change it. Change it, man.
Why would you change your winning team, though? Why would you change your winning team?
Like, I know he didn't do it towards the end of last season because he kept playing the same 11. Like, he never does change the winning team. But to be honest, I think we have to change it. Like, there's one change I'd make, and that's Kulu to start ahead of Son because I know Richie can play where Son is, but I say I know Kane, obviously you start Kane because he loves the goal against Leicester. They're his favourite opponents. And you put Kulu on the right and Richie on the left. So that would be my lineup for Leicester and then the next few games. But, like, bring Sonny off the bench because he loves the goal as well against Leicester. And, like, but, yeah, that's what I think. That's why I would change a winning team. But I don't provide any life insurance. I'm not the manager. Conte does.
I don't provide any life insurance.
That's what Ben Sims said the other day. That's what I said. I don't provide. But
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But,
So your points are clear there. You're saying that for the Leicester game coming up, you want to see these particular changes, and you want to see Son dropped and Kulu come in, right?
yeah, Kulu. I want Son on the bench because let's be honest, Kulu doesn't want to be on the bench. You do not start him on the bench because I know he came off a couple of games last season against Leicester. Like, he came on and got an assist for Son Screamer. Like, but you start Kulu, I'm afraid. But he will come good, Sonny. Let's be honest. He normally
Yeah,
does.
of course.
Look, the only game I would start Son is for the North London derby. That's at the Emirates because he did score, but we lost 3-1. But that's the game I'd start him for because he loves to stick it to them. So, yeah, I'd start Son in the North London derby because that's the only game I'd start him for. But we've got more coming up after that before the World Cup. So, yeah, I'd start Kulu on Saturday. But we'll see if we'll see what formation Conte goes with. Probably this one. But I don't want this formation. You want 3 up front, not 1, look, 2 playing behind Kane and so on. You want 3.
Who would
Like,
your 3 be? Who would your 3 be, Carl?
Kane, Kulusevski, Richarlison, KKR. That's the new name, KKR.
Not KPV.
Not that's my name, but KKR, Kane, Kulu, Richie. Like, Liverpool had SSS, and they still lost the league under Brendan. And yeah, so but
Who would your midfield be? Would you have 2 or 3, and who would they be?
I'd probably say what 2, but I know he normally plays 3, but I'd say 2. I think this time. The Viking, obviously, the Viking, and I'd start Skip because I know he's been injured, but let's give him a chance to start because he's brilliant. But yeah, we don't want him injured, but I'd start Skip anyway. But yeah, Skip obviously. Skip
He's a top player.
He is, yeah, good player. Our next game is Leicester in the Premier League. And then I believe we're on a break until Arsenal away because of the international. What what are your thoughts about Leicester now on Saturday? How do you feel that's going to go for us after this loss we've just had tonight?
Well, hopefully Saturday, I think it'll probably go brilliant. I know first half we've been bad at the start of the season. We've been bad in the first half, been better in the second half. But Saturday, we want to be better in the first half and the second. We want to be better in both halves. So hopefully we can be better in the first half because I think we normally do in this game. Like, yeah, but we have not kept a clean sheet against Leicester since whenever. But I want a clean sheet, another one. Like, yeah, so hopefully this game will go brilliant. And I'm going to double your odds and go 6-0.
6. That would be a fantastic game to be at. I'll tell you now. That'd be brilliant to be at.
Brendan straight out the door, doesn't it?
I'm going for a few goal scorers here, and obviously it's got to be Kane, ain't it? I think it's got 17 goals against them. Is it 17?
Yeah, he'll score some more.
He'll score, and Kulu and Richarlison, and yeah. So I think Kane's got 4 against them. That was when we finished second under Poch in 2017. He got 4 and we won 6-1. But yeah, 6-0. I want a clean sheet. Like, we could get Kane off free kick. I know we've got this set piece coach, but just get Kane off free kick.
I don't think he took one today.
He didn't. I think it's a dilemma anyway. Regardless who at the moment stands over our free kicks. When was the last time we scored a free kick? By the way,
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Honestly, like anyone that steps over the free kicks at the moment, I'm like, there's no point in me getting up off my seat. Yeah, it probably was Ericsson.
Yeah, Ericsson scored one when he drew 2.
Son doesn't do him properly. Kane always hits a wall. Dyer smacks him into Rosed. And I don't even know if there's any other players that can take free kicks in our team. And if there are, they haven't tried them out.
Carl, one last question before we go to the next person, and that is, if we win 6-0 like you predicted, will Brendan Rodgers get the sack?
Yes, he is, because he's getting the sack in the London. Sacked in the London. You're getting sacked in the London. And, yeah, he's getting sacked because they're a sacking team, I think. They're not like Chelsea or Man United or Arsenal who get managers sacked. And, yeah, we're not a sacking team. The other clubs are. We're not. But goodbye, Brendan. It's been nice knowing you, but it's time to leave, mate. You're getting sacked on Saturday.
If you were the chairman of Leicester and you said, Brendan, if you lose this game, you're sacked.
Yeah.
Would you let him back on the coach back up to Leicester, or would you make him get his own way home?
I would not let him on the coach.
Neither would I. It's an expense, right? And you can just write that off immediately and just get him in a taxi or something.
He can get a taxi, like
the rest of us get stuck on the trains in the rail strike.
Yeah. So yeah, you can get your own. You can get his own way home to go wherever he is.
Well, we're going on to the next guest. You heard it here. KPV. Brendan's getting sacked in the morning on Sunday. Finished.
Saturday. It's Saturday, not Sunday.
On Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. 5:30 kickoff.
About
I'll be in the
7:30.
pub. Yeah, I'll
7:30
be in the pub
sackage.
with the fans. And yeah, so and as always, come on you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Nice to see you again.
Come on, you Spurs. And now we have. I know this guy's gonna have plenty to say for sure. Here he is. It's Michael. How you doing, Michael?
Yeah, I love those introductions I get because whenever I appear on any show, it's always this guy is going to have a lot to say, and I will today, honestly.
There's a lot to say, man. There's a lot to say.
Yeah. Like first things first, I was in a car today. I was driving when the game was on, so I had it in the background.
You're so lucky you didn't see it.
Yeah, I had it in the background, but I couldn't like focus totally on it because of course I had to look at the road, right? But nevertheless, I like saw some things. I saw us losing the ball plenty of times. I saw us being wasteful in the final third. And the funniest thing is that I got to my destination at the 88th minute mark. So I turned the stream off. I start unpacking. I come to my flat. I check the score and it's 2-0. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, because it all had like a draw written all over it, in my opinion. And honestly, I don't want to say that we deserved a draw, but I think it would be a fair scoreline, in my opinion. Like, of course, with the last like 3 to 5 minutes that Sporting got, they deserved the win. But throughout the whole game, I feel like even though we are extremely wasteful in the final third, as I said, I feel like they haven't like put dangerous balls into our box. Like there was that one chance at the end of the first half that I saw when I was on a break, on a gas station. But other than that, I don't think this game was maybe that bad. But the scoreline now, after those final 5 minutes, looks really bad, and it honestly changes the performance from like 5 out of 10, in my opinion, to like a 2 or 3 maybe. Because it's a similar thing when we were playing Brighton last season and we lost 1-0. And the whole game we were keeping them at bay. There weren't many difficult situations for our defense, but we shut ourselves in the final minutes. And the contest said after this game, if you don't win the game, at least draw it. And we failed to do that today. So yeah, like we can get into talking about certain players because I've been more defensive towards Sonny maybe than you were, Stel, because you were saying that he should have been like rested, dropped, or whatever word you want to use. Like a few games ago, I was one of the people saying like give him time, allow him to play against Nottingham Forest. I hope he will score. He didn't. Then against West Ham, I hope he will score. He didn't. Against Marseille, I hope he will score. And we come up with all those excuses to convince ourselves that he should be starting. Yeah. But at this point, not only for our sake but also for his sake, in my opinion, we should rest him, because even though he had like meaningful impacts on certain games like Marseille or Fulham, you cannot change the fact that we didn't score until he came off the pitch and Kulusevski came on, as far as I remember, against Marseille. And similar thing happened with Fulham. I think that we look like more dangerous without him on the ball, without him on the pitch, sorry. And it honestly pains me to fucking say that. I hate myself for saying that, because like we all, I love him to bits. He's the player that drew me to Tottenham. He and Eriksen are the reasons why I support this club. Why I started supporting this club, of course. And it pains me to say that, but if he needs a rest, then he should get a rest, right? And yeah, what else? I think like our back three in this game wasn't bad. I subscribe to your points about Romero. I don't think that he is fully fit, and ever since he came back, he didn't look like his old self. And again, I tend to say that a lot, that the bar was raised so high in the previous season that we now expect a lot more. Because when we are playing under Mourinho and we are scraping those wins 1-0, 2-0, but we didn't expect much from that team, but we are getting results, and we are like kind of happy. Of course, the fan base was more on the fence with Mourinho than they are with Conte, right? But then Conte came, and the ending of last season was perfect in my opinion. We were amazing to watch in my opinion. But with a few exceptions like Burnley or Brighton, but those matches happen, right? But the bar was set so high that right now both the team, the players, the management, we expect a lot from them, in my opinion. And unfortunately, they aren't delivering right now. And it has to be called out that Royal was shit today. I back three was okay in my opinion. Perisic was okay. I think that Bentancur was bad today. He lost the ball a couple of times. I think Højbjerg was.
Michael, sorry, you said the back three was good today. What do you make of Romero today?
I mean, I've said that.
Sorry, beg your pardon. Carry on. Worries. Ignore me.
I think that he carries a knock or something. I don't think that he's fully fit and at his best, but that led me to say the things about like raising expectations, and that our expectations of the team are high, because like Romero at like throughout the majority of last season was pretty much, I don't want to say perfect, but he was an extremely good playing defender, right? And right now he isn't like at his best, and some people start to criticize him. But I think that back three was okay, and Perisic was okay. I think that Højbjerg didn't necessarily play like that bad, but like the right side of the pitch and the front, in my opinion, were really bad this game. All three of our attackers. Richarlison was probably like the best of the lot, but I don't think that I don't think that other two gave him a lot of competition for the title of best playing attacker in our team, because like Kane wasn't good today either. Like I know that Sonny is getting a lot of flack because of his like previous performances, but Kane today wasn't that good.
I disagree, Michael. I don't think Kane wasn't bad. I don't think he was bad. I saw Kane having to drop into midfield because nothing was being created, and he actually made two key passes that ended up being offside, not because of him, because of the timing of the run. Had they been offside, that's potentially 2 goals for us. I think Kane actually played okay. His passing wasn't great in general, but nobody's was on the pitch today. But I think Kane actually played better than what people are saying. You're not the only one that said it. Quite a few people said Kane tonight wasn't, in the comments as well. But I just felt that when you're not getting service, what's he supposed to do?
I don't mean that he was dreadful or anything, but there have been plenty of games in the previous season. Again, the previous season is like a bar of expectations for me, that in those games he was like pretty much perfect. Every pass that he played was really good, right? And Son and Richarlison are making those runs, and yes, 2 or 3 of his passes found their target. Unfortunately, they were offside. But I think that there were plenty others that he overshot, or he misplaced the pass. Again, he wasn't like perfect for me. He wasn't dreadful. He was somewhere in the middle. But again, I expect more.
How many passes or crosses were set up for him today?
Yeah, none, and that's I subscribe to what you said about the
then he's having to go into a position that he doesn't really play and try and now become a different player, and you can do it in a couple of games and it works, but if you're always having to do it, it's not always going to work. I just think, Michael, I really believe this, that if we get a proper creative attacking wing back and a proper midfielder that can get on the ball, control a game and create, I think this team changes dramatically. I think you see a big shift. 2 players, I just don't think we've got them though. Maybe Spence, but we don't know. maybe.
Yeah, like we can all talk about the creative midfielder, but we can't get him until January. So we have to find Conte has to find a solution with the player that he has. And I watched like a 30-minute YouTube video about Conte's Chelsea and how they were playing and what personnel he had. And I know that though that bunch of players were better than our squad, but he had a couple of ways to solve the midfield issue, and like some things were I mean there were like a couple different options he used. It was either Azar dropping into the number 10 role. It was one of the wing backs joining to create the like a free. So basically in transition they were playing a 4-3-3 because one of the wing backs was tucking in, or it was one of the center backs that played upwards, and the two were left in the back line. So those are the ways to solve that issue. The question is, can our players like do that? Because I
Michael,
don't see Royal joining midfield. I don't see like Kane is
Michael,
dropping back, but yeah.
you know that Chelsea team? Let me tell you what their defence was, okay?
Yeah.
Marcus Alonso, Gary Cahill, John Terry, and Azpilicueta. Hands down, that protects the midfield and the attackers far greater than what we can. We've got Emerson, a 33-year-old Perisic, who is showing a little bit of difficulty in his defensive duties. Ben Davies, Dyer, Sanchez. I just think that Conte team, not just in the midfield, which he adjusted, and you're right in what you say, but the protection at the back was far superior than what we can offer at the moment. Other than Romero, for me, nobody gets into that Conte Chelsea side.
True. And he would also, like Romero would have to displace Aspilicueta from that team. So I would even argue that he doesn't get into that Chelsea side just because of how good Aspilicueta was a few years ago, right? But what I meant is that those four options are a way to solve that issue of like getting overrun in the midfield and lack of creativity in the midfield. Either one of the four was dropping, or one of the backline tucking in, or wing backs helping out. Right. The problem for me is that either our players aren't good enough to perform that roles, or we lose too much by dropping Kane into the midfield, because he passes the ball really good, but what the only thing that he can do when he drops into the midfield is like spray those passes to Richarlison and Son for those like runs, darting runs between the defenders. But doesn't that make us a bit one-dimensional, in my opinion? Because watching Spurs this season, I feel like we are a bit one-dimensional. It's always the ball from like the back line to Kane. Kane flicks it on to Son or Richarlison. And if Kane gets interrupted, or if the ball gets taken away from Richarlison and Son, we aren't like dangerous, and we aren't creating any much else other than crosses from Perisic, because Royal can't like hit the fucking bar door from 5 meters. So yeah, like as I said, the problem for me is that we have to find a solution with the players that we have. And I do realize why people are talking about like bringing a third midfielder, but the midfielders that we have don't solve that issue, right? We can like gamble with Spence or Doherty. I mean, Doherty isn't that big of a gamble, but he is coming back from an injury, right? So we can either gamble or gamble pretty much, and maybe we should actually gamble, because yeah, but because the way we are playing right now doesn't work.
Gamble. Let's gamble.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah. Like,
last question, Michael. What are
sure.
you going to change for the Leicester game? What from tonight? And it's not just about tonight. I think it's a transition over the last few games. What's in your mind that needs to switch around now? And I'm sure Conte's thinking about this as well.
Yeah, like for me, like if I was the manager, I would like change a couple of people just to freshen up the squad and to show some players that they aren't undroppable. because Davies already got like the flick on the nose that you aren't 100% nailed on, right? Langley can come in, and I think that there are plenty of players that should also get this treatment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I would probably start with Richarlison, Kane, and Kulu up front. Drop Son. I would probably drop Bentancur for one of the other midfielders, either Skip or Bissouma.
Mhm.
I would drop Royal for Spence or Doherty, whichever it is, right? Whichever is like the fittest and the most accustomed with our tactics, I would put them in, just to change something up. But unfortunately, I feel like Conte is really stubborn, either with his formation, his favorite 11, and substitutions even. Because I know that you've spoke a lot about substitutions and why he isn't like making more subs because he doesn't trust his bench. But sometimes I feel like even if the quality drop off is there, it's not that significant in my opinion. But even if the quality drop off is there, it's fresh legs, it's fresh mind, different ideas on the pitch. Sometimes you just have to like throw different player on the pitch just to stir shit up, just to throw the opposition of balance. Because if you play with the same 11 players, in my opinion at least, if you play with the same 11 players throughout the whole 90 minutes, then they are used to the patterns that our 11 is showcasing, right? So I would just change Spence for Royal just because he makes like darting runs and he attacks defenders, the opposing defenders, right? I would just change Bissouma maybe because he is better at carrying the ball, he's better at like taking the ball to his feet and dribbling past one player, right? I would change Kulusevski for Son just because Richarlison is a different player on the left, and Kulu offers different things than Richarlison on the right, just to change things up. I think that change can be good. So yeah, I would make probably those 3 changes. Maybe put Langley in place of Davies too. I think I honestly have a feeling that Sessegnon will play, and this will probably be the only change that we make for that Leicester game. But yeah, I love Conte, but one thing annoys me with him is that he's stubborn and he doesn't really sub that often. As I said, I feel like substitutions are a key part of the game, and he should be making more of them, in my opinion. Of course, I'm not a coach. He is the guy with experience here, right? But
Michael, Conte's methods and systems have won him the Premier League at Chelsea, multiple league titles at Juventus, the league title at Inter, the cup with Inter, the cup with Chelsea. This man's a proven winner.
Yeah.
We're now asking him to change his way. My question would be this: is it he needs to change his ways, or do the club need to change their ways? Because I'm adamant on this. I think what we've done is we've just built a team this season that will get us a top 4 race and probably just about get top 4. Yeah. I don't think we've built on being in the Champions League, having Conte and a very big stadium that earns a lot of money now. I don't think he's got the players for a lot of what we want, Michael. I really don't. I think he's got the players for a top 4 race and maybe a push in a domestic cup, maybe. I don't think we can do more than that.
Yeah, like don't get me started on ownership and the transfer window, because like I've spoke with Ben and Sim a couple of times about transfer window, and they asked me at the beginning of July how do I rate the window, and I told them like right now, in my opinion, it's a 7 or an 8, just because we got a lot of the business done early. But I told them I expect more, and if we do not fulfill the needs of the squad, that my opinion of that transfer window would drop really quickly. And right now I cannot give this more like than a 4, just because Richarlison is really good, and Langley sometimes plays, and Bissouma sometimes plays. And the point that Ben made, I think his name was Ben, that we didn't drop the level of our squad, that like bringing players from the bench actually doesn't drop the level of our squad that significantly. So yeah, but right now we are in the middle of the first part of the season, and in my opinion, there is not much merit in like whining about the transfer window and owner. Sorry, whining is a wrong word. I mean complaining about the transfer window and the ownership, because right now they cannot do anything. Conte has to change something, and that's why I'm saying I'm a bit pissed off with his stubbornness. That's why.
When I raise the ownership in the transfer window, it's not because we can't change it. I'm linking it as to why we see results like this tonight.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
agree with
explain
that.
the reason I believe we lost tonight is because of those factors. That's why I raise it. You're right. We can't change it. But can Conte? Has he got the tools? We're gonna find out, right? We're about to find out what we do. I think where Spurs end up before the World Cup begins, I think the last game's Leeds United at home, I believe. Where we end up there will give us an indication of what we're about, I think. Because this is now going to be his first full season with a pre-season, with the so-called being backed window. So, but anyway, Michael, listen, Saturday, what's your prediction? Leicester City.
Yeah, I think their defense is dreadful. They conceded like the second most goals in the league, but their attack is quite good actually. With how bad their team is performing, they scored 8 goals, which is actually a lot. Chelsea and United scored the same amount, so I feel like it will be Chelsea and United have 8 goals each, and you know the first team in the table that has more goals than Leicester is Fulham at 10th. So you know it actually they scored quite a few goals, but their defense is shocking. So I feel like it will be a high scoring game. Like my wild guess would be 4-2, just for the sake of it.
Nice.
To be entertained. I want to be entertained, and you know I want to see a lot of goals finally, because you know like I'm kind of sick of seeing 0-0 at the halftime. Like
I'm with you, Michael.
Even if they score first, I want to see like different scoreline than 0-0 and halftime.
I agree. Michael, you have a good evening, whatever you got planned. And Ben and Sim, I know they're back tomorrow, the next couple of days, so for sure you'll be chatting again.
Yeah, sure, guys.
Nice one, Michael. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys, that wraps it up. That was the fan call-in show post 2-0 loss to Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League. Simon, I don't think there's much more left for us to say.
No, just want to see a few changes, I think, now. Let's take Leicester on, get it done and dusted early. I don't want to see performances of the first half like I've been seeing. I want to see a different retaliation, and it could pave the cracks in the sense that it is Leicester in their position that they're in. But we have to also respect this because they're going to be fighting. So we just need to understand that. But as long as we've seen a few changes, not just for the sake of it, I just want to see something different, mate. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, we definitely need a couple of decent performances to get us excited again. I personally, I'm bored watching Tottenham, but if we end up winning a trophy, I'll accept it. I'm not convinced just yet. But listen, long season to go, man. There's going to be ups and downs. World Cup, games being postponed because of the Queen's funeral. Second half of the season, transfer window in January. That changed our season last year. What's it going to do for us this year? It's only one loss. We move on. Leicester City away next. Ben and Sim are back tomorrow, I believe. Guys, thanks for watching. It's happened again when we're in the studio. It's last-minute drama. You can't write this shit anymore. Have a good night and come on, you Spurs.